Hi everyone, thank you for visiting my channel today. Today I'm gonna teach you how to enable Hyper-V in your Windows operating system. How to enable Hyper-V in your Windows operating system. And to enable Hyper-V, there are some requirements that your operating system must meet. It is available on Windows 10 and Windows 11 Pro, Enterprise, and Education Edition. Unfortunately, it does not work on Home Edition. You would need to upgrade it to get it working, or yeah, to get it working on your Home Edition by upgrading it. As well, you would need to enable virtualization in your BIOS. So depending on which operating system, which device you are working on, Lenovo, for example, to enable virtualization, have to click on F12 in on Lenovo devices, F12, and for Dell, I believe maybe F8 or F2. I'm not very sure, but it's one of those keys. You could always go online to search for it. So now let's get moving. To enable Hyper-V, you type in you go to Windows R key, Windows R, it would open this window, and then you go ahead and type in optional features. Once you click on optional features, it's going to bring this Windows or this dialog box. You look through it and search for Hyper-V. In my case, I've already selected it. So you go ahead and select Hyper-V and click OK. Once that is done, you would have to restart your machine. The other option is to go to Control Panel. Under Control Panel, you type in Programs and Features. Yeah, there you go. Under Programs and Features, you go to Turn Windows Feature On or Off. You click on that, and it will bring you back to the same window or dialog box. And then you go ahead and click Hyper-V. Then once that is selected, you would have to restart your machine. After restarting, to search whether it's indeed installed, you type in Hyper-V Manager, and there you go. And this is how Hyper-V looks like. So assuming you want to create a virtual machine, you right click on this. You could select new here and then you create. I normally go by right clicking on this and then go to select new and then I select virtual machine. So once this dialog box opens, I go ahead, I begin by clicking next. And here you type in the name of the operating system. In this case, I already have a Windows 10 ISO image downloaded. So I'm going to type in Windows 10. Then I click next. And on here, I'm going to select the second option, which is the default option. It is this virtual machine generation provides support for newer virtualization feature, has UEFI based firmware, and replaces um, and supported 64-bit guest operating system. And once this is selected, you cannot make changes after the virtual machine is created. So just keep that in mind. So I'm going to go ahead and click next. For the memory size, I'll leave it as is 4096, which is equivalent to 4 gig. So I'll leave it as is. Depending on the minimum requirements to on creating virtual machine, its system must at least have 8 gig. So I have 32 gig of RAM, so I'm gonna go ahead and leave it as default. And then here I would also select default switch, which is the host, the machine that is hosting this virtual machine. So obviously the internet, the source of the internet for the virtual machine is going to be from the host machine, the machine on which I'm creating the virtual machine of. So I'll leave it as default switch, and then I go ahead and click next. And again, I'll leave this as this and click. This basically for storage size. I have one 512 gig, so I can choose to put 64 gig here. I'm changing it to 64 gig for my virtual storage. Just so you know, these are dynamic. It does not really take space on your hard disk if it's not in use. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue. And then here it says install operating system later, but in my case, I'm gonna do it now because I have the ISO image downloaded. And then I'll click this option. I'm not gonna use a CD, however, I have the ISO image already downloaded. So I'll select and browse, locate the file, the source file, and it's under my downloads. Yours may be different depending on you may have saved it on the desktop. It could be anywhere. You might have saved it anywhere. So my case is it's in my downloads. I click next, then I go ahead and click next and then finish. Yes, as you can see, the virtual machine for Windows 10 has been created. To install it, I'll right click and click. It could be connect or start. I normally would do connect, and then it would ask me to start. I will go ahead and click start. Then you follow the steps to install Windows 10 operating system. Yes, so it says press any key. I'll press my space key to continue. Press any key to boot from CD-ROM. There are instances where you may have this challenge. When you press the key and it doesn't act up, you could click on reset from here. This is a reset key right there. Yeah, this this is for reset. So I'm gonna do reset, and then it will reboot again. I'll press yes again. You see, once you do that, it's gonna open. So now it's loading my Windows operating system. Yeah. At this point, I'll click next, install. It may take a while. So I do not have a product key for this, so I will select I do not have a product key, and then I'm not going to work off home edition. I want to use let's see, education and edition depending on your preference, depending on what you want to use this for. So I'll click next, and then I select the license terms and go ahead and click next. I am not upgrading. This is a new install, so I'll click customize, and then the default disk space I gave it was 64, so I'm gonna leave it as this and click next. I'm not gonna partition or anything. I'll go ahead and click next, and then it would start installing. I will pause the video, and then I'll come back once the installation is finished. So the entire process took about 15 minutes to complete the install, and then it had to do the restart. So it's in the restart process. Windows 10 has been installed successfully, and then it's begun to do a restart. So this is the restart. It may also take about a minute or two. So I'll still go ahead and then pause the video and then I'll come back once it's done. Okay, so the restart completed and then it brought us to this page. In this case, depending on your region or your location, you're gonna go ahead and select it. In my case, I'm in the United States, so I will go ahead and leave it as this and then click on yes. This step may take a while, so bear with me. If it's delaying, I will be pausing the video in between, but if not, I'll just move on. And then I'm gonna go ahead and select the default, which is I'll skip this one. I'm leaving it as is. And network, it would pick it. I'm expecting it to pick the host network, which is the network for my host device, the device that is sitting, that virtual machine is sitting on, which is my physical home device that I'm creating the virtual machine on. Yeah. Here, I have a domain controller already created. I also have a Microsoft account, but I'm not gonna use that. I'm gonna use select domain join instead. It would ask for a name. I'm gonna do for YouTube testing, YouTube tests. Password, I'll give it a password. I'll confirm the password. Next. And then you answer the three security questions. I will pause it and then continue from here. Okay, I will just go ahead and do it. Second security question, blah, blah, blah. That is not my real nickname. I'm just trying to fill in the form to move on. Star, star, star. This is just for learning purposes, so you could fill in whatever you want to fill for it. And this section, choose privacy settings for your device. I will go ahead and leave it as this and click next. Cortana, not now. And then if it's delaying, like I said, I will pause the video and then I'll continue once it proceeds to the next step. So give me a minute. Let me go ahead and pause it. All right, Windows is booting up. It's gonna take about a few minutes to complete the step. So I would have to pause the video and come back once the um, the setup is completed. So I'll see you soon. Okay, folks. Finally we got it up. I'm gonna connect it. I just clicked on connect. It would ask for my username, which I typed in. Uh, oops, oops. Let me pause it. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and click next. As you can see, it's picking from the home network, so it has internet connected. Not required. So this is the virtual machine. It's created. There you go. So if you like this tutorial, please like and subscribe. Thank you and see you another time. Thank you. Bye.